So Apple's HomePod is finally here. Well, not of course here, because for some strange reason they don't sell it in Canada. But I do still have some thoughts on the latest Apple product. Hey you, it's me, Curtis P. It's time for some coffee. So Apple's decided to join the world of smart home speaker creators. But according to Apple itself, it cares more about the sound quality than the actual smart features. So let's start off today by talking about the hardware, the one thing I think Apple really knocked out of the park here. I think it's evident just by looking at the HomePod the large amount of work Apple's hardware team put into this little package. It looks so simple on the outside, but it's what's on the inside that really makes it stand out. The HomePod features a total of 8 speakers, 7 downward-facing tweeters, and 1 large upward-facing woofer. Now along with that, there are 7 microphones all positioned around the device to pick up your voice for Siri controls. Driving all this hardware though is Apple's A8 processor, paired with a number of different sensors to detect the room around it and change the sound to match the output from the speakers to make it sound great. This happens to be one of the magical parts of the HomePod. Unlike other smart speakers, which can be trained to the room around them, the HomePod does this all by itself without your help. Items like the Sonos Playbar and other surround sound systems require you to actually spend time setting up the perfect audio profile for the device, but not the HomePod. Just set the HomePod down and it'll do all of the calibration on its own. This ensures that you get the best sounding device no matter where you put it in your home. So overall, Apple's built a pretty amazing little home speaker, but of course there are some issues. One of the big ones people have with the device is the lack of an aux input on the back, something many other high-end speaker systems already support. This means that if in the future Apple decides to stop supporting the HomePod, you're going to be left with a dumb speaker box that can't really do anything. The simple addition of an aux in on the back would do wonders. Then you could plug in anything you wanted to and listen to it right through HomePod. So overall, the HomePod is a pretty awesome speaker, but now let's talk about just how smart it really is. Now I don't think this should come as a surprise to anyone here, but Apple's not even close to making a smart speaker like many of the others in the world. Between the Google Home and the Amazon Echo, Apple's HomePod doesn't even compare. In fact, it's so far behind, it's just depressing for the company overall. At one time, Siri was a pretty big breakthrough in the world of virtual assistants, but that time has come and gone. In 2018, Siri is in need of some serious upgrades. After Apple announced the HomePod back in June at WWDC, I think many people, myself included, expected Apple to actually announce some big upgrades for Siri. But alas, here we are at the beginning of 2018, and Siri is still incapable of the simplest of tasks, which really reflects badly on the HomePod's overall performance. The first big issue with the HomePod's smart tech is it's unfortunately attached to a certain iOS user profile. Much like many of Apple's products, the HomePod is really a single user device, even though it's probably going to be located in an area of your house filled with other people. This of course means anyone who wants to talk to HomePod could send and read messages, create new notes, or even add reminders to your iCloud account. So if you are planning on setting up HomePod in your living room, be aware of these security risks. Beyond that, a number of features appear to stop working when your iPhone actually leaves the local Wi-Fi network. Now you're still able to control the number of smart connected home devices if they are connected within the Home app, but don't expect the same level of connections as the Google Home or the Amazon Echo. And this of course gets us to one of the biggest problems with the HomePod. Having recently purchased a number of Echoes for my home, I was surprised by the sheer number of plugins for Amazon's virtual assistant. It really blew me away. I could control my Hue lights, Nest thermostat, or Harmony universal remote control, and more, just by talking to my Echo. Siri on my phone though, well, she can't do half of that. And when I do get it to work, Siri is slow, and half the time she doesn't even understand what I'm trying to do. This can be a real annoyance when you simply want to turn on a set of lights or turn up the volume on your TV. And of course, let's not forget that Apple has decided not to release an app store for the HomePod, which of course is fine, but I really think they need some form of plugins for Siri. I think an approach similar to the Apple Watch could actually work great here. If you have the Spotify app on your phone, you could simply install it on HomePod with just one tap. Then the HomePod could play music natively from Spotify, something of course it's currently not able to do. But instead, it seems like Apple is really depending on users to just switch over to Apple Music, or of course AirPlaying music from their phone. Which brings up another issue with the HomePod launch, AirPlay 2. It was expected to be released at launch, but the launch day has come and gone and AirPlay still hasn't been released. This means you can't group multiple HomePods together for that added room sound, something you can do simply with Google Home or of course Amazon Echo. And last, I know this is just a little thing, but multiple timers. It's 2018, Apple. Why can't Siri run multiple timers at once? It's such a simple task, but apparently it's too complicated for Siri to really understand. So in the end, I think the HomePod is a pretty cool little speaker for your house, but is it worth $349? No, I don't think so. With a vast amount of features missing and the lack of a decent virtual assistant built in, I think this product is off to an unfortunately bad start, but that doesn't mean that it won't get better. Look at the Apple Watch, for example. At first launch, it was a strange little device, but come version 2, Apple really understood what people really wanted from a small computer on their wrist and implemented those changes. Overall, that's what I hope will happen for the HomePod. The HomePod's a really amazing piece of hardware, but the software, that's what really lets it down. So overall, those are just my opinions though. Of course, you can let me know in the comment section down below what you think of Apple's HomePod. I'll try to respond to as many comments as I can, and of course, let's try to keep things civil. So if you enjoyed this video, please hit up that like button. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm, and of course, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this in the near future. Until next time, everybody, I'm Paradis. Have a great day.